Assalamualaikum and a good day everyone. My name is Nomaizata Nabila binti Muhammad and today I'll be sharing my case study entitled Nutritional Management of Underweight and Stunted Children. This presentation is part of my industrial training tool under the Bachelor of Nutrition Science UNISA and my placement was at Klinik Kesihatan Mane. Through this case study, I'll walk you through the journey of Child Z. We explore the key factors that contributed to his nutritional status, how we assess his needs, and the intervention that we carry out to support his growth and development. So, let's get started with the first chapter, the introduction and social history of the patient. Before we dive in, here a quick look at the content of my presentation. There are 7 chapters in total, starting with the child's socio-demographic background, followed by medical history, the diet diagnosis relationship, and nutritional assessment and intervention. I also share insight on medication use, a brief discussion, and finally the conclusion of the case. Let's begin with chapter 1. Let me introduce you to Child Z, a 1 year 7 months old Malay boy born on 24th June 2023. He's the second child in the family and lived in a kampung house at Kampung Kesung Mane, Kuala Terengganu. He was born at full term through normal delivery but with a low birth weight of just 2.26 kg and 47 cm in length, which already puts him at risk for postnatal growth issue. Both of his parents are SPM graduate. His mother is a housewife while the father works as a construction worker. Their household income is around 1,500 a month, which categorized them under the B40 groups. Child Z has no history of food allergies or taboos, and his feeding journey began with Dutch Lady formula milk, which unfortunately caused constipation. The formula was later changed to Ducro, and the issue resolved. In terms of eating habit, he has a poor appetite and usually eats in a small portion. His weight and height has been fluctuating, with measurement often plotted in the yellow zone of the growth chart. His lifestyle is mostly sedentary with limited physical activity and playtime, but his sleep pattern is normal. He wakes and sleeps at regular times daily. Overall, his growth concerns are linked to his early low birth weight, minimal physical activity, and limited food intake. Now, moving on to the medical part of this case. Child Z was diagnosed as underweight, stunted, and wasted. His weight was 8.6 kg, height 78 cm, and his BMI was just 13.9 kg per meter squared, all below the range WHO standards. One of the key contributing factors is he was born with a low birth weight of only 2.26 kg that's put him at higher risk for postnatal growth failure. Other risk factors include his poor appetite and small food portion, which likely led to inconsistent and inadequate nutrient intake. When we look at his growth chart, it shows quite a fluctuating pattern. Sometimes he improves slightly, but most of the time his weight and his height stay in a yellow zone, occasionally dropping below the normal. At one point, the child had constipation, which seems to be linked to the formula milk he was on. After switching brands, that issue resolved, but overall, his poor diets and consistently small food portions are major contributors to his growth faltering. So, looking at Child Z diet, one of the main issues is his portion size. He actually eats a variety of foods, but in a very small amount. He only had 3 main meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but no snacks in between, which adds up to quite a low total energy intake for his age. Another important factor is his poor appetite. This makes it harder for him to meet his daily calorie and nutrient needs, which can slow down his growth even more. Earlier on, he had constipation issue when drinking Dutch Lady formula, but after switching to Ducro, his milk tolerance improved, which also helped with intakes. To support catch-up growth, a high-calorie diet has been recommended. This includes 3 things. First, offering energy dense meal. Second, frequent small feeding through the day. And third, continuing a suitable formula milk that works well with his digestion. Okay, for this case, the child was given Appetin multivitamin lysine syrup, but just to clarify, this supplement was provided by the parents themselves, not prescribed by the health team care. They give 2.5 ml daily mixed into the child formula milk. The main reason is to help stimulate appetite and promote health growth. It contains key nutrients like B complex, vitamin C, D, and lysine, which support protein synthesis and help improve food intake. So far, there haven't been any reported side effects, but we do advise parents to keep an eye on any possible allergic and digestive reactions. And of course, it's important to continue growth monitoring regularly during the supplement use, just to make sure everything is progressing well. At the time of the assessment, his weight was 8.6 kg, height was 78 centimeters, and his BMI came about 13.9. Child Z doesn't have any diagnosed medical condition, but early on he did struggle with constipation, and this was suspected to be caused by the formula milk he was taking that time, which was Dutch Lady. Thankfully, after switching to Degrow, the constipation issue was resolved and hasn't come back since. For dietary intake, the total carbohydrate was 152.5 gram, protein 49.5 gram, while fat was 39.5 gram, and the total calorie is 815 kcal per day. Moreover, child Z has diagnosed malnutrition and I5.2 that related to inadequate food and energy intake as evidenced by weight of 8.6 kg, height 78 cm and BMI of 13.9 kg per meter squared, which categorized as moderate undernutrition. For catch-up group, energy requirement was 1265 kcal per day. The short-term goal with the objective is to improve weight gain and calorie intake to support catch-up growth by achieving at least 0.5 to 1.0 kg weight gain in 1 month. With the strategy, encourage frequent feeding, include 3 main meals plus 2 to 3 snacks daily. Use energy-dense foods such as adding oil, margarine, or full cream milk to meal. Continue appetite multivitamin lysine for daily to improve appetite. Monitor weekly weight gain and food intake using food diary. For the long-term goal, with the objective to achieve ideal weight for age 11.1 kg, support optimal growth and development. With the strategies to maintain consistent calorie intake of about 1,265 kcal per day until ideal weight is achieved. Educate caregiver on balanced micronutrient distribution and portion size. Encourage self-feeding practice to improve appetite and eating behavior. Incorporate nutrient-dense family foods gradually, such as egg, tofu, chicken, banana, and avocado. And also monthly monitoring of weight in high-tech clinic. Child Z menu planning, which consists of 55% of carbohydrates, 20% of protein, and 25% of fat. And these are 3 days menu for 2 weekdays and weekend. So, for Child Z, his growth progress is being closely monitored. We had 2 follow-up sessions so far, the first on 23rd April and the second on 28 May 2025. During each visit, we track his weight, height, and BMI to see how well he's progressing with catch-up growth. We also do a 24-hour diet recall to check if he's hitting the daily energy target of 1,265 calories. We look at more and than just number. We review his meal portion, how often he eats, how much milk he drinks, and even how it's prepared. He also taking appetite lysine syrup 2.5 ml daily to help boost his appetite. So we'll monitor how well that's working too. And finally, we observe his feeding behavior, whether he's being fed by a caregiver, and his overall activity level to get a full picture of his nutritional status. Now, let's look at the discussion for Child Z case. Child Z was diagnosed with moderate underweight, borderline stunting, and wasting, which tells us that both chronic and acute undernutrition are present. These conditions are often linked and usually caused by long-term poor nutrient intake or repeated infections, as noted by WHO in 2023. One major contributing factor here is his low birth weight of 2.26 kg. According to Black and colleagues, babies born small for their age are at higher risk of poor growth and delays if they don't get enough nutrition early in life. Diet-wise, Child Z shows a few concerns. He has low appetite, depends a lot on his caregiver to feed him, and eats only small portion. Even though he drinks formula 6 to 7 times a day, his overall energy intake is still not enough for catch-up growth. To help stimulate his appetite, he's on a lysine-based multivitamin, but based on Kilman 2020, supplements like this should be paired with proper feeding routine and nutrition counseling because the effect can vary from child to child. One concern in his current feeding is the use of regular formula, specifically Dutch Lady. While it's affordable and easy to get, it may not have the nutrient density needed for malnourished children like Child Z to grow quickly. That's why clinical guidelines like the Malaysian MNT guideline for pediatrics and Aspen guideline recommended nutrient-dense high energy tailored to the child's specific needs. For this case, an individualized menu was created to meet his adjusted energy requirement of 1,265 calories per day following their RNI 2017. To wrap up this case, Child Z, who is a 1 year and 7 month old, was diagnosed with moderate malnutrition, specifically underweight, stunting, and wasting, based on WHO growth standards. His condition was likely influenced by a few key factors, which is being born with low birth weight, having a poor appetite, and consistently not meeting his daily nutrients need. A targeted nutrition plan was developed to support catch-up growth. This included calculating his energy requirements, planning balanced macronutrients, and creating a personalized 3-day menu to boost his intake of energy, protein, and essential vitamins and minerals. The good news is during follow-up visit, we saw improvement in his weight and his caregiver became more consistent in following the feeding recommendation. However, it doesn't stop there. Continued monitoring of his growth, eating habits, and nutrient intake is still crucial to make sure he stays on track and continue to grow healthily.